Let's
He
see.
is
TommyBoy.
I am Howdy.
Howdy.
And together we are
Checkers and Wreckers.
Hello there.
Good morning.
I had it on the black screen there for a second too long, so I hope you all are having a fantastic day today. We're here, Dustin Helms. That was the likes of Mr. Howdy himself there on the fiddle.
Go get fiddle.
Oh, you actually said that there.
Yep.
You already responded to him. You're on it this morning, man. And good morning to you, sir. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad.
You've been busy little bee all week, man.
A little worker bee.
Broadcasting.
Hey,
It's awesome.
We at CWTV gotta have a good time, and we are gonna have a good time this morning. I like my podcasting voice sometimes a little better. It's a little more laid back. I gotta have it's a little more relaxed. Not everybody wants to hear my woo.
What was it? I'm trying to think what race it was. Was it yesterday or was it Friday night? I think it was Friday night. Somebody was making a pass on the lead, and you were going nuts, dude. I was sitting there cracking up.
Well, yesterday I realized why Ric Flair does the woo, and it's not like just as an act. It's that he's breathing.
Right.
And I did a whole lap, and I'm sitting there just going the whole lap, and I didn't breathe, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna faint over here. And the next thing that comes out of my mouth is woo. It was like out of just natural, the nature boy that a lot describes that right there. It was just natural and.
Well, and sometimes when you're racing, you don't breathe. Well, or
Right.
I do, and I get made fun of because I sound like Darth Vader.
Dustin was even talking, or somebody, maybe it wasn't Dustin. Somebody was talking about the VR. The mic is
It's
right there.
right there, man.
So anybody getting down and really getting into it, they.
Good morning, Dustin. Good morning, Brooks. Brooks just went to VR as well.
He did. Yes, he did.
How you liking that VR, Brooks?
I'm sure.
Good morning, Mr. Trowbridge. And while you're on here, buddy, I know it's a day late. We just want to give you a big old happy birthday shout out.
Absolutely. I sang happy birthday to him last night.
Did you?
Yeah, he was
Good,
on there.
good.
It was kind of a singing. I told people, I'm a weird dude, so stick around. We'll have some fun, that's for sure. And you can... Bryson Dapper last night. Ha but talk about a pass, though, real quick, because...
Dude, he was fast.
Did you see the UMPs at all?
I watched
You
a
were
little
rocking
bit.
out last night, but so the UMPs, man, he goes around, and it's unfortunately it's DCJ. He's getting around, but you know that like that little area on a needle, the smallest needle you can possibly find.
He threaded it.
with a big old piece of yarn. It's like, man, how did you do that? I told him in the booth thing because he got second. Then I was like, man, I'm gonna be honest. That it looks like you learned that from your teammate there, Hayden. But I don't think he'd have done that. And he's like, yeah, you know what? Probably not. I was like, where did you find the room to put that? I didn't think it was there because he literally had just enough room to put a modified through it, and he did it. And then,
And you know my feeling on the UMPs.
oh, those things are wicked, dude. I can't control
I
it.
can't either.
Let alone thread a needle coming out of turn 4. I believe it. Lernerville is where. Yes, it was. It was at Lernerville of all places. This
All
during
right.
the, Mud Rebels Dirt League there. So, wow, that's.
Hey, and before we get too deep in here, we're going to give some shout outs to some people. We'll start off, give a shout out to Butt Kicker.
Absolutely.
Feel what you've been missing. I like how you've been throwing that in there.
It's the white flag.
Yep.
Isn't it by Butt? Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, how you've been doing that. iRacing iFlag, Jeff Brown over at iRacing iFlag. He's got some new updates out for the iFlag itself.
Dude's swamped right now. So,
Yeah.
Don't let that stray away from putting in an order. And we got a code out there. Do you know it off the top of your head?
No, I don't.
We'll get that out there.
I will.
We'll get it
I
out
will.
there.
I will.
And get that all to you so you can check that out. But really cool things going on there with the pit box and then the iFlag. So
Yep.
I'm looking forward to here soon. I promise.
I know
when
you
we get
use
an
your pit
iFlag.
box.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's right there on the table.
I can't use mine now that I'm in VR, but
You'll find a way to...
I know John Etheridge from Monster of the Dirt. He's got one hooked up now, and he just built a new rig that's pretty nice. Shout out to Gruntworks Custom Woods. If you need any custom wood signs done, hit him up, man. Go look at his page, first of all, and just look at some of the work that he does. It's incredible. I mean, the stuff that he's doing with wood on these signs, when the ass started talking about it, and I went to the page and looked it up, I was like, wow, this guy's good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And he's a vet.
Yep.
So, you know, you got to support the vets, support the military. And we were just talking about this person earlier, Typo Edits.
Absolutely. So if you got a love letter, anything like that, cover letter, love letter, resume, anything you want to make look a little more professional, hit up typoedits.net and use the code BWSPORTS1.com or BWSPORTS1 for 40% off. There.
Nice.
So
We got codes.
we got codes.
And every time I hear Typo, I think of one of my bands that I like, Typo Negative.
Oh, okay.
They're a metal band.
Well, yeah, is it, really?
Yeah.
So, Greg, yes, that is definitely on the docket this morning. And Damon says, this is not a good cup for keeping coffee warm, buddy. I drink it fast enough that it ain't going cold.
Oh, speaking of coffee cups, keeping it warm. So I was in...
Interesting segue.
Yeah, I was in Best Buy yesterday, and they have these cups now that can control the temperature of your coffee.
My goodness.
Like the little regular just coffee mug. Like if you're traditional and set it on a dish and then your little coffee mug, the dish is actually a warmer.
Is it like ceramic or what?
Something like that.
I'm thinking like I was watching the guys at Bathurst yesterday, and they just jammed this water bottle into the cup holder on the side door, man. I mean, jam the thing. So if they could do that and just turn the bad boy to like 33 degrees, it'd be perfect.
There you go.
Because that was a fun one. Did you watch any of that?
A little.
That's I mean, it's not the easiest thing to catch once again since it's over in Australia. I caught it on Motorsports, and I think NBC might have been playing a little bit of it.
There was some on Facebook too.
Okay.
That track's insane.
Oh, it looks like a freaking beautiful track.
It does.
I mean, I'm over there watching it with Brad for a minute, and we see right as it starts, and it's like 5:45, maybe 6 a.m. I wake up for it because I want to see this thing roll off. I just think it's so cool to see so many cars of different classes rolling off at the same time there. But so it's dark there in Australia, and it's the sun is rising, and it's it's like 2 o'clock. It's 5:45 there, and the sun is rising there, and they have this camera shot. It's like of the hill, and these guys are coming around a turn right there. And you just had the sunrise coming up, and it's like, man, that looks just absolutely incredible. You'd love to be the photographer there. I can't wait to see pictures of that. And man, when these cars fire off and they're clean, and all those liveries are just ready to go, it's one of the coolest things in the world, man. I really do.
It's a cool race. It really is.
To your Best Buy Cup, man. That's an invention for racers right there. Jam that bad boy in, and when I say jam, I'm like, what is he doing? And then like the Townsend Bell of the international world is he's jamming that water bottle in there, making sure. I was like, oh my god, that's what that is. Okay, it makes sense there. So absolutely, and Imperial got another win this week.
They did.
Hey, it's another week. Gonna get another win. Nothing big for these guys. It's kind of like the likes of Hayden Cardwell. Another win, another week. So he ended up winning pretty big. And,
very big.
Yeah, that's what Greg Thielsen was asking about that. And then we got old Davin. Look at that. He rolled it from 24th up to 5th. So that changed the twist in motorsports over there.
That's a hell of a drive, man.
And it was a fixed setup. And
the guys he was going against weren't slouches either.
No, not at all. I mean, these guys are world-class drivers. Absolutely. And I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't understand the whole format of it because they had a live event.
Yes, they were in Pennsylvania, did a live event. I seen that where they were setting it up, and
right.
It was cool. Like the rigs were like sprint cars.
Right.
So they had the rigs set up, and so there was a lot of guys running there. And, I understand their philosophy behind it, but like with Hayden winning it, and somebody said, oh, well, you keep the money. I just want the 410 ride. He didn't get the 410 ride. You had to be at the live event.
Hayden didn't, but Bergeron did.
Right.
Since he took that at the live.
He was
event.
at the live event.
Yeah, he got second overall, so he took I believe. But I mean, at the end of the day, Hayden's putting money in his pocket.
True, but still, I mean, how awesome would that be for him to get a chance to get in a 410 car? We see what he does in iRacing.
100%.
So, and that could be his chance to get out there and turn laps in a real car and impress some people. And, hey, man, I got a car you want to drive for me?
Right. And that's what I was going to bring this up and ask you, and I didn't put it up there because I wanted your, sometimes we talk before the show, and I wanted your honest and true reaction here. Hold on, I got a dog. So, with Hayden being, and I'm not trying to talk him up here, anything like that, because I know we talk about Hayden Cardwell a lot, but he is truly one of the fastest guys on iRacing dirt that I have seen. Consistently,
he's fast on asphalt.
Yeah, you're right. Something tells me the likes of Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, these guys that are on iRacing and they run their dirt teams, they know who Hayden Cardwell is.
They have to.
They're looking at him.
They have to.
They have got to be. And I mean, he's running these official races. He's doing that. He's running through the 410s. He's trying to do that. He's just picking up the 410s. He's a late model driver for the most part. He does UMPs a lot too. Yep. But really just stepping into these 410s and getting in with that. But he's going out there and he just wins this event with David Heilman was there. David Heilman won the world champion he was the world champion last year in the World of Outlaws iRacing.
Yes.
So, and I'm not saying these guys are bad, but he's on another level, man. And like I said, I'm not trying to talk him up, because don't take this the wrong way if you're listening or if you hear this, but he's getting beat in the All-Star Series there in the Pro Series by Evan C., who arguably is right there with Hayden this year, and a lot of people's pick to win the Pro Series this year, like Majulis did last year for the World of Outlaws. So it's
and I think you take both of them, and they're both they're in a league of their own. I mean, really, and I'm not taking anything away from anybody else, but you watch these kids, and that's what they are. They're kids. I mean, these are teenage boys that are out there, and I mean, to never be in a real race car. Well, I think Evan drives a real car.
He's a kart. I think he's a dirt kart guy,
yes.
Right?
But for Hayden to never be in a car, and to have the car control he does, and even though you can sit here and say it's a game, it is, but it isn't. I mean, you still have to have throttle control. You still have to be able to drive the car. You still have to,
1,000%.
because anybody that doubts me, you can come over to my house. I'll put you in the rig in a dirt car, and let's see how good you do.
Right.
If you've never had any experience doing it, I guarantee you're not going to go the first lap slinging it around there.
No, no, and David saying y'all have underrated. Man, since I've got on iRacing, I have talked nothing about good things about the Cardwells. You guys,
right?
I've always said you got the last name Cardwell. That just kind of means you're fast. It just comes with the name there. So there you got Davin and Hayden's fathers, I believe, chatting in with us. So I'm loving it.
Oh, so they actually come from a late model background.
Hayden has shown me some of his uncle's late model races.
Mm-hmm.
Slings it just like Hayden does on the sim, man.
And you know, and you have his cousin Davin, and Davin's bad fast too.
He's a kart guy.
So, you know, I mean, you got both these Cardwell kids that are out there, and, you know, if you line up in the field and you see either Hayden or Davin in there, you know you got your work cut out for you, because they're going to do, and they're going to drive the hell out of the car to get up front.
Absolutely, and that's where I think if Davin can really step back, and because I've listened to him sometimes in races, and I've told him this myself, it's like, man, sometimes you're worried about everybody else on the track, and if you just were worried about inside that car, don't worry about what the admin is making a rule on. If they make an EOL, you got to
Race your race.
Right, you got to get through it, and you got to do it. And afterwards, if it was a problem, you can say something, or if you need to speak up, if something comes up and you got to mic up to state your case, then do it and be done with it. And that's where being in the same situation where you see Hayden and you listen into him when he's racing, and I can't say even 2 months ago he was this calm, but he is just. I didn't think Hayden was as knowledgeable, and I think we talked about this last week, or no. This was this week that Hayden. I was listening. You
were on a broadcast and Hayden was in there.
Well, and he was talking to Davin though. This was another race, and he just tells him when to fire off, and it was just, I mean, the perfect time that I'm looking at it. I was like, man, if you would have right then, that you would have gotten around him, or at least gotten in his head and been able to try to make that attempt.
And that's what I'm saying. For a kid that's never been in a real car and has that much knowledge. And just he has the fundamentals to go out and get in a car, and I think the kid can do great things. Yeah, and I've asked him before. I said, "Would you sling a real car like he did on iRacing?" And he's like, "Nah, bud." Nah. I was like, "Okay, thank you." Some people. You saw the F3 champion in iRacing last year. Nothing against him. You're 10 times better than I am, but I like Dustin's comment there. Hayden is the new Bergeron.
And see, I wish I was around when these guys were coming up, like Bergeron and those guys, because I'd like to see. Because, like I said, something about Hayden just kind of, to me, puts him on a different level when it comes to this simulator that we're paying attention to here. So, I know, like I said, nothing taken away from Davin, because like if he can race his race, like you said. He is with the team now, Twisted, that's going to put him where he needs to be. I mean, Dustin Helms, those guys, Al Balducci, the Butcher. I love every time you say that. It's like you got to follow it, the Butcher. The Butcher. But those guys are really helping him out. So, I mean, Davin's a year younger than Hayden. So, and for a 15 to 16-year-old boy, that's sometimes not the most mature person in the world, right. And you can see that come through at times. So, well, like Brian just said, and I believe that's Hayden's dad. Yep. Okay. So they're not just kids. They do come from a racing background, and I understand that. I come from a racing background myself, but still, you can sit here and somebody can tell you this and this and this, but until you actually do it, right. I mean, and that was my thing, when I was in karting, Dad, I'd get out of school on Wednesday, we'd load the kart up, we'd go down to Whiteland, and we'd go down there and practice and test until I just couldn't drive the kart anymore. Right. I'd just be wore out. But, that honed my skills and my fundamentals, and it got to where I knew every little crack crevice of that track. And that's what I'm saying, for their knowledge and the way they are, it blows my mind. I mean, and I enjoy watching both Hayden and Davin. I think they're both great racers, and they're both great drivers. I mean, thumbs up for both of you guys. So like I said, I mean, to make a long story short there, but I truly do think Kyle Larson, those guys, they're looking at Hayden, and man, eventually they're going to say, hey, we're in the area. We want you to come out. I want you to take a ride in a 305 even, and just show us what you can do, or here in a limited, something like that. And I think he's going to get a chance because of the simulator like that. And even if not that, I mean, if he continues to go out and win these big races like he's doing, he's going to get noticed. I mean, look at kid's name from Hendrick, not Bowman, the other one. That drives a 24 car. Goodness gracious! I just had that at. I'm drawing blank right now, and it'll come to me. Keep going though. But anyways, he was big into the Sims, and that's kind of how he got his shot. Right. So yeah, and there's been the one kid in F1
that, got a ride in like a F3 or something like that because he come from a sim, which it didn't work out too good
No,
for him.
exactly.
But
That's what he spins it.
Yeah.
All on the first few laps he's doing it. So.
But I think in his situation, he was a kid that just got home and played the simulator and played the simulator and played the simulator, and that's all he knew. He didn't really have any knowledge of actual,
William Byron. Thank you, Eric.
That's it.
That was
William
good.
Byron.
I was about to look it up on my phone.
I know. I totally. It's like,
So-
okay, where'd that go?
Right. But I mean that is. I mean, it shows you, like Brian just said. I mean, iRacing is becoming. It has been, but it's becoming a lot bigger platform for these guys to really get their name out.
It's becoming kind of a stepping stone. For years, karting was the stepping stone. You started out in karts and you made your way through karts and
Right.
and you worked your way up.
What's a little more affordable though?
iRacing, well, it depends on how extreme you want to go.
Well, I mean,
We've seen guys with $50,000 iRacing rigs.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
But for the most part, you can get in and start iRacing for cheaper than you can go out and buy a kart race ready for.
Yep.
So, to me, it's great. If you have, a young one that's trying to get into racing, hey, let's start him out on this sim and see how he does on there. And if he can't learn car control on that, he's probably not going to learn car control in a kart.
Right.
iRacing and these simulators have become a great platform and stepping stone. And going back to what you were saying with Hayden and Larson or one of these guys, recognizing him, I'm sure these teams have to be, like Kinzer and Swindell and all these, sim. You have big names like that have sim racing teams.
Absolutely.
They have to be watching the All-Star Series.
Right.
They
you
have
would
to be
think
watching
so.
that.
The names are in it.
I'm sure they were watching the race Hayden was in yesterday. Hayden and Davin, sorry.
They're always watching CWTV out there. You know it.
So, there's people watching it, and it's just going to take that one chance and that one shot. But like I said, as long as Hayden and even Davin, as long as they keep doing what they're doing, people are going to recognize them, because, and you mentioned Evan C. I mean, they're already they're talking about him. There's a lot of young talent in iRacing that just, me as a 47-year-old guy, I'm on here, and I have racing experience, and I was thinking, nah, competition's stiff, man.
Oh, absolutely.
It's stiff. You're not going out there and, you see Kyle Larson, you see Dale Jr., you see some of these other racers on iRacing.
Oh, yeah. Max Verstappen.
And they're not out there dominating.
Not all the time. No, and that goes to show some of these guys that are in the top tier of this will never get a shot that they probably deserve in a real car, whether it be because of money, whether it be because they don't want to. They're happy with that being in a sim. They don't want to risk what it is to actually throw it in a real car. But there was somebody that posted just yesterday, Max Verstappen. He was racing with Max Verstappen in Formula One cars, and he was above Max Verstappen by a second. Now, granted, did Max Verstappen go out there and throw out the fastest lap in his life? Probably not. But like you said, I mean, maybe this guy just never got a shot, but he's fast, or that's his track. That's the track he knows like the back of his hand.
Right.
So, and it's really fun, and especially, I know you're liking it a lot more. I'm loving it, but I'm really watching, especially watching these, some of these guys really mature, and I hope eventually we get to see like Evan C., Hayden, these guys racing against Bloomquist. So, hey man, I know that guy,
And I just come up with an idea, and since Mr. The main monster of dirt's on here, Mr. John Etheridge.
What was the Munster? Harry Munster? Start calling him Harry Munster.
No, are you talking about the Munsters, the show?
The dad,
It was
Frankenstein looking dude.
It wasn't Harry. It was there. Damn
I'll
it,
think of that. That's somebody else.
Herman.
Thank you. He's gonna be Herman from now on.
But so since you're on here, we need to get this set up. We need to get a hold of Kyle Larson, Dale Jr., all these drivers that are on here running iRacing, popping in rooms every now and again. we need to send an invite out. All right, you guys come race against the best we have to offer, and we'll put Hayden, Davin, Evan C,
right.
and all them guys, and let them go at it.
And these guys, I mean, they're coming into these races a lot of times, and but they're not going to get into, I don't think, these money races on iRacing because number one, unfortunately, and I'm not saying these.
Well, I'm not necessarily talking a money race. I'm talking more of like a pro-am.
Right. Just having a good time. But unfortunately, you see these guys hop into lobbies, and they get targets on their back. And it's like, why are you going to take... Well, I took Kyle Larson out, man. I threw a slide job. No, you didn't. You threw a Tom Racker on him. That's what you did right there. You didn't throw no slide job, bud. That is what I would call. So...
And then here again, and going from asphalt to dirt, and how we were talking about, Hayden's fast on dirt. He's fast on asphalt too. He proved that last night until he blinked out. But Timmy Trowbridge just commented and said, I still need to work on my qualifying for Wednesday nights. And yes, it's strong fields every time I jump in a mod session.
Mm-hmm.
And this is coming from a guy that goes on asphalt. And Imperial Motorsports wins about everything they run on asphalt.
Oh, they're sending something each time. Like, boom, hey,
yeah.
We got another one. Boom, hey, we got another one.
But yet, and then he comes over on dirt, and
he grew up from dirt. That's
right.
where he got his start. So, I mean, he's wheeled it there before. So, and not taking anything away from him because he can do it, like
yes.
you said. But, I mean, that just shows, and he said it himself when he came on here, that's the competition with the Monsters of Dirt. And speaking of that real quick, Zach McSwain takes the All-Star Series this weekend, or not this weekend,
Wednesday night.
Last week, yeah.
Yep.
So Zach McSwain, he kind of went on, I'm not going to say a little drought, because he won a lot last season, but going a few weeks here without anything, and then pulls it up, gets under Hayden there in the All-Star Series. And
I thought Hayden had that one in the bag, man. I was pumped. I was texting you and Dan, and I was pumped. I was like, Hayden's going to get it tonight. But you know what? All right, he didn't get the win, but he got the bigger picture, the bigger prize.
Right.
Points leader.
Right.
So, Hayden is leading the points in the Monsters of Dirt, Checkers and Wreckers, All-Star Pro Series. So,
and then Zach McSwain's team,
which are still a lot of season to go.
Week.
They did.
So
they did.
Pulled themselves into third overall in points, and now it's the VLR Swindell Speed Lab. They pulled a little farther away from us after that, and we're in second there. I think John said on Wednesday that Zach McSwain Racing was there in third, and then I think Borderline there in fourth still. So, still a lot of solid action to go there with the Monsters of Dirt All-Star Series.
Brian, that's a perfect point you just brought up. It's not just the racing. It's about friendships that are made. And I still have a lot of friends from when I raced back in the day, that I still talk to, and you make friendships. And we were talking about this before we started the show today. 99.95% of the people that we've met on iRacing so far have been great people, willing to help. And that's awesome. I mean, that's how you're going to keep it growing and keep more people getting involved in it.
And then you got Anthony Caudle. I'm just joking.
He's salty because Daniel keeps taking him out.
Oh, dude.
Well, you took him out, and then Daniel took him out.
I felt so bad. AC2 Skins, get a shout out to him there real quick, because you see that big Checkers and Wreckers logo down there. That's because of him. So.
If you want a sexy looking rap, he can hook you up.
He's a big part of that 99%. That's a fantastic group there. But I figured that'd be a good little segue to give him a little shout out there for that. So. Really, with iRacing, I mean, we had a lot of solid racing on CWTV this week. That's going to fill up a little more. Is picking up a little asphalt and
in the afternoon.
Yeah,
little afternoon delight.
If you want to, I like that. I like it. I'm going to use that. Thank you very much. So, really, I'm trying to think. It was an exciting week with the Monsters of Dirt. They went to short track racing with the super late models. It got a little hairy, but hey.
Oh, on the Pricks of Payment last night?
Yep. They're on the, let's.
The Pricks of Payment.
Monsters of Dirt.
Pricks of Pavement.
So, like I said, it did. I mean, they saw a little. They saw what short track asphalt racing was about there. John knew what it was, and so these guys got their first kick at that, and it was a
And
fun
tempers
time.
flare on short tracks.
They always do. It's always a good time. Thompson seemed like it was a fun little track. I'll have to get on there.
It
and
looked
run
fun. I was upset that I didn't get a race last night.
Those supers. Maybe
I'm
we
missing my
should've-
rig.
Maybe we should have let them go at it in the SKs before, so they had a idea on that track. But regardless, they always put on a good show. And there's guys in there saying, it might have been a little rough, but this is still some of the funnest racing of the week here. Even though these guys are dirt guys, they love coming over to the asphalt and having fun there. And
Skyrockets in flight. Afternoon delight. Afternoon delight. But
now we just got copyrighted.
yeah, I'm missing my rig. I'm ready to. I'm running 305s tonight. Damn it.
Oh, yeah, that's what I know Mom and Dad will be over here for the Super Bowl because I'm going to throw down in the
Oh, I
fryer.
forgot Super Bowl.
I got another TV. So I'll have Dad come down. I'll see if Dad can tune me up at 360. And
I'm not going to mess with 360s tonight.
No?
I need some more practice in
hey,
those.
after my run through the alphabet soup and run up to 11th there in the 360s last week, I'm coming for them. I ain't going to win the thing, but hey, if I get a top 15 in a point series and Monsters of Dirt, dude, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go nuts. So,
And speaking of Chubb, he just hopped on.
well, hello, sir. How are you? So, it's probably because Daniel's over there tagging him,
Yeah.
waking him up.
He's like, I didn't take him out.
No, it was me on that one.
Daniel, didn't you get into him last night? I think when I was watching, you got into him.
There's a good chance there. Very good chance. So,
David said Davin let him race 305 last night. That's like, I hate to say it, that's kind of like my favorite car in the game right now.
305.
Oh yeah,
That's why I kind of like the 360 because I do like playing with the throttle a little, and you got a little more power in there because it feels like it's a weed whacker compared to a riding lawnmower. And then you got the 410, which is an absolute machine.
Beast.
Yeah, exactly.
beast. Well, the 360, it's just, you figure last Sunday that was the first time I'd ever raced the 305. And I'd never been in a 360, and I jump in the race.
Right.
So, yeah, I need some more laps with the 360. So,
Yeah. Hey, I mean, and that's a good thing. Like I tell people on these broadcasts is, to come out in the Monsters of Dirt, if you're new, come out and have a good time.
Yeah.
Just respect the drive. And if you're back there and you're a squirrel, because I've been there, I'll be honest,
we're still there.
just tow it.
Right.
And then, practice it out. But, I mean, these guys have been nothing but nice. I mean, I haven't caused. I've gotten into a couple of guys here and there, but nobody has came at me and went absolutely crazy. But at the same time, I want to remind people that if you're coming into this league, you're coming into the one, if not the best dirt league that there is around. So the competition is absolutely fierce.
Yeah, don't think you're going to step right in and win a bunch of races.
No, because I thought I was going to have a chance in the street socks. I mean, we've talked about this. And I go out there for the street socks for the first time, and I qualified last, finished last. It's like, hey, I ran with them.
And I've also here's something that's kind of helped me out a little bit is like if there's a league race or something, and you can go in there and click watch, and then when you're watching, you can test drive. So you can be out on the track with the guys, but you don't hit any of them. They don't see you. You're kind of like a ghost car, basically. But, you can sit there and, okay, here goes Zach McSwain, for instance. I'm going to jump in behind him and try to follow him and follow his line and see what he's doing. And that'll help you, get around some of these tracks. And it's helped me on the dirt aspect of it.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, 100% there.
Because at first I hated dirt. Now I'm running more dirt than I am asphalt now.
Right, and it's because like you said, you find a good group of guys like this, and it's fun to come out and race with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll move on here. We'll kind of touch now unfortunate week. You know, we were going to lead off.
Yeah,
with
we were
this,
going to
and
lead off with it, but I
kinda
didn't really
ran
want to
along.
lead the show off with a sad note.
It's sad, but at the same time, I mean, you know, I'll let you go, but at the same time, I mean, we're gonna celebrate. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say one of the best racers, but one of the.
He was a
most-
racer. When we talk about racers on this show, that's what John Andretti was. He was a
Absolutely.
racer.
You ran NHRA, you ran IndyCar, you ran NASCAR.
He ran IMSA. He ran sprint cars. He ran midgets. You know, when I was a teenager and I was on Jimmy White's crew for the midget out at IRP on Thursday Night Thunder, you know, John Andretti would show up because we had Johnny Parsons Jr. driving the car at the time, and him and John were pretty good buddies. But John would show up out the track, and I got to meet him on a few different occasions. You know, nice guy, little bitty guy. But nice guy. And, yeah, he was just – when you look up racer in the dictionary, he's going to be in that description.
Right, absolutely, and I can remember, you know, seeing highlights of the first person to attempt the double. You know,
Yeah.
you would have thought it was Tony Stewart. You would have thought it was maybe Robbie Gore, you know, something like that. But no, it was John Andretti. He was the first to go at it. So another racing legendary feat right there. And you completed them both. I mean, he completed 1,100 miles his first time out.
Right.
He missed the drivers' meeting. I think had to start from the back, but ended up putting in like 6th, I want to say, in the NASCAR race. And I think Tony Stewart did end up besting with like a second place win or second place in Indy and like a 4th. But up until then, man, John Andretti held that. And I mean, just to get in there and race even 900 miles in a day.
Yeah.
Before your car could put, or you could put, you know, one of the two. But I mean,
And see, and I thought John was Marco's uncle. He's not.
cousin.
He's his cousin once removed, whatever the hell that means.
So
When
it's
you
a
look it up on
second cousin.
Wikipedia,
Is it, on what?
Wikipedia, whatever the hell you
I
call
thought
it.
you were calling it Wikipedia.
No, not Wikipedia.
Man,
Wikipedia.
You're showing your age there.
Wikipedia. But anyways, that's what it said. I'm like, why don't you just say his second cousin? It's his cousin once removed.
Right. Brandon, is that a little better? I'll get a little closer to the mic. I'll stop sitting back and relaxing here. So, no, that's what I think. That's just kind of maybe an Italian way. They go about the formal way of saying it. Where here in America, we say second cousin.
Yeah.
It's a little easier there. So,
But yeah, I mean, and then John brought up a good point. Said he won in the 43 car for Petty. And that's when it was still Richard Petty Motorsports, when Richard Petty still owned the team.
I gotcha.
Even though his name's on it now, he don't have nothing to do with the team.
Right.
And John, I want to say you're right on that. I think he might have been the last one to win in the 43. Because I'm trying to think of drivers that drove the 43.
Kyle, Bubba. Those are the two that I can think of right off
Bubba
the top.
didn't win.
No, they didn't. But I'm just thinking of the drivers that drove
Eric
in.
Almirola.
Did he win in that?
That's what I was wondering. I don't remember if.
But I thought what was cool is when Window World got on his NASCAR and IndyCar.
Yes.
They made the cars look like it was pretty much the same livery. It was like, man, that's pretty neat, man. You gotta.
The Petty blue and orange.
Oh yeah, I mean, for one, so you could pull up 2 of these cars. These absolutely in the 90s. This is the cars that are. In my mind, that's what racing is right there. You got a NASCAR and you got that Indy car sitting right next to each other. And then to make them look so similar, because obviously, I mean, you're same team, I believe, at that time.
Yep.
Or Window World had stock. There was something to do with it that they both had feed into it, because you'd never see that.
I think Petty had a hand in that IndyCar team.
Right now, what the equivalent would be McLaren. You'll get an F1 McLaren next to an IndyCar. That'll be a cool thing to see. But up until then, and it was those liveries sitting next to each other. It was really neat.
Well, I know some of the Ganassi. You'll see the
Target cars or something like
kinda-
that. Yeah, fair enough. I didn't think of that one there, but yeah, that was unfortunate. As he did battle, I think, with that for 3 years. His
Yeah.
colon cancer, and it spread
Yep.
to his liver. So I mean, just a reminder, really, to all you guys out there too. is
Get it checked.
Yeah,
Get
absolutely.
it checked. I know it's not fun, but you know.
Have you had it checked?
I didn't have to.
He's walking around it.
No, I mean, because I asked my doctor, like when I turned 45, I said, you know, do I need to have this done? He's like, there's really not a history in your family, so we don't need to really worry about it right
Till
now.
you're 50 or whatever.
Yeah,
I
he's
gotcha.
like, maybe when you're 50 we'll do it. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, a little uncomfortableness can save your life.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, you know, especially if you have family and kids and stuff to worry about. You being uncomfortable for 5 or 10 minutes is, you know, going to give you years to spend with your family.
Yep.
So,
And if you're local here in the Indianapolis area, you're probably familiar with this. But yeah, I mean, even if you're not, you may have heard of the Race for Riley.
yep.
That was started by Johnny Andretti.
Yep.
So when this all happened to him, I believe, you know, the first time, that was years ago, if I'm correct. He wanted to get out there, and you know, he was going through it. So, and he saw these kids go through it, and he realized that, man, this isn't something I want to do. I want to help these guys, and so he starts Race for Riley, and that has been an absolutely huge foundation here locally, and I'm sure nationally, really. But for the longest time, in the end of his career, he was always running that Race for Riley car. So pull out your Race for Riley cars this week. Show them what you got on iRacing there. Have some fun. Maybe I'll do a little Race for Riley scheme or something to give it out and shout out to.
Hell, we could even do a Race for Riley on iRacing.
There you go. Just a little memory there for Andretti, as you know, he did win in the Leo. Coming in with the save there, he did win in the 43 there. So, Eric, you were correct.
Oh,
So-
Eric Almirola did win in 43?
Yep.
I thought he did.
Leo coming in with the save. Thank you, sir. I like
Thank
Leo,
you,
man.
Leo.
Leo's a good guy for being Roger Penske and us being Andretti, man. I sure do like Mr. Penske.
He likes to bust my balls a lot.
Oh, he does the same thing to me. Absolutely. He's a good guy. He's having fun there. At least I think. If not, he plays it off good, and he's like, man, those guys are idiots. So, hey, I like it either way.
Whatever.
So, we'll go into some.
Hey, and big news this week. We want to thank every one of you guys out there. You, and even you. 5,000 followers.
Yeah. That's, I mean, absolutely huge. You were saying, you know, within a year, and I was like, hey, man.
It's not even been a year yet.
Not even been a year, because we started after the Daytona 500 last year. So,
But we couldn't do none of this without you guys.
no, absolutely. And CWTV wouldn't be a thing without Checkers and Wreckers, and without all of you Checkers and Wreckers.
And Checkers Records wouldn't be a thing without BWSPORTS1.com.
That's right. So hop on over to www.bwsports1.com. Check out all the what?
Happenings.
That's right. Check out the boys over at Black and White Sports. They go live on Wednesdays at 7:30, and they're going live for a couple more weeks from Royal Blue Lounge.
No, they signed a deal.
Yes. So congrats.
They're going to be
them.
there for a minute.
Yeah. So it'll be a good time
We
out
stopped
there.
over there after work Friday.
It looks like a pretty nice place. I'm gonna have to get out there.
It's
and,
not bad.
Yep. I have to get out there, check it out, and hello. Thank you very much. And so
That's my cousin,
Oh, okay, nice.
Tammy.
Nice. I was trying to read that last name. I see it now, but so thank you very much, Mr. Duvall. And Mr. Duvall, he's trying to hit some milestones himself there. He's got that new league, the Mud Rebels Dirt League.
Yes.
That's one of the ones that's broadcasted on CWTV out there. Isn't it funny how I can just like snap into that? I'm going to have a broadcasting voice now. I love it. So
Yeah, now that I'm
we were talking about iRacing being a platform for drivers. Come on, iRacing, pull me into the booth. Let's get it going. If you got somebody in iRacing, you know, shoot those CWTV videos out there to those guys. No, I'm joking around. I have a blast up there. It's a real good time. So again, yeah, sign up for the newsletter on www.bwsports1.com, and we're gonna be giving away a T-shirt, the BW Sports 1 T-shirt. We got some of those from.
I still don't even have one.
I don't either yet. Well, I have the one we did at Carb Day, but these are new.
Oh, I got the Carb Day one.
They are from Above Printing Concepts, so they are the now official printer of BWSPORTS1.
I still need to make my email before Daniel kicks my butt.
Dude, he's coming down at you from both angles.
I
That's
know.
no fun. That's what I think about that. Dustin, we'll get you out there. PM us your address. I've got some
Yes.
sitting right over here.
We got stickers.
That's not a problem. So we'll move to IndyCar.
Sure.
And
There was some news this week.
just a couple things, but hey, I mean, March is right around the corner. It's not May yet,
No,
but man, yeah, I can start to.
it's getting closer.
I start to feel it that much more. And boy, oh boy, March is coming right up. Like I was telling you before, I'm
St.
begging
Pete.
Ashley. I was like, hey, what's it take? What we got to do to get down to St. Pete? Let's do this. Let's get out there and have some fun. So.
I may not make it this year, but I think I'm going to try to go next year because my buddy Chris that I'm house sitting for,
Yep.
his parents just moved down to Florida,
Okay.
and I know his dad was talking about he wants to go see St. Pete.
Absolutely, yeah. It looks like an absolutely fantastic time there.
So how couldn't it be? I mean, you know,
Yeah,
you
got the
especially
beach.
if you live in Indiana, you're leaving the cold weather behind. You're going down to Florida, and you're watching IndyCar racing.
Yep. Absolutely. And so we got news coming out of Mr. Trowbridge's team.
Yes.
There with AJ Foyt. And TK, he's not hanging it up just yet.
Last lap.
Was it last lap or victory lap? I can't remember. Is it TK's victory lap or TK's
I thought it was
last
called
lap?
TK's
You might be right.
last
Yeah,
lap.
okay. So he's going out there. I'm gonna call it a victory lap because he deserves it.
He does.
I mean, he has been a staple, at least here in the Indianapolis area, through the Indy 500. I remember cheering him when he won here, I think, 2013, 2012, something like that. And
That's when he ran for Andretti
I believe, yep.
because wasn't in the 7-Eleven car.
I think you're correct, yep. So, and he won the title then. I mean, he's a very liked guy. He's a very good ambassador for the sport. So definitely keep your eyes on Tony Kanaan as he will be absolutely fierce this year in those 5 races he's running for sure. Can only imagine. You got a racer like him, and he's not going to hang it up. He's definitely going to keep it up. As he said, he's been looking into sports cars, looking into Formula E, different things like that. So he's a racer. He's a driver.
I would love to see him in IMSA.
You know, once I thought I just said that I didn't mention that before, but he did mention Formula E, and that would be a decent because I mean that is a sport that needs an ambassador. They have some solid names.
It does, but it just,
Masses running in there, I think.
like we've talked before, it just doesn't do it for me. I want to hear the roar of a motor.
No, and I'm with you there. I just think it's good racing. Unfortunately, the 2013.
Oh, it was
yep.
KV Racing. It was his car green and yellow?
I can't.
I'm trying to remember
honestly.
the livery.
I'm thinking. I was looking at when I'm picturing it. I'm picturing when he bends down and kisses the 7-Eleven car after the championship. So
and that's when it was Andretti
that
Green
wasn't-
at the
yeah,
time.
Yep.
Because that's
So-
when the cool team and Andretti kind of joined forces.
So
I always like the cool liveries too.
those were some. Yeah, I was obviously you got the Marlboro. That was a Penske. Just absolutely. Well, not even Penske because McLaren ran that too.
Yes.
So that was just a famous racing one. I like the Camel one myself from
Yes.
F1.
Smoking Joe.
And you were the cool. So
Well, you know what got me is, you know, they came in and said you couldn't have like Penske. You couldn't have Marlboro on the car anymore, but they still ran the bright orange and white. You knew it was the Marlboro livery.
and it just said Penske Racing where it
Yes.
said Marlboro exactly.
But here's what gets me is the cool car still had cool on them.
Because they probably played it off as cool.
I don't know what the stipulation there was or what, but that's something that's always kind of.
Question ran. in
What's
your
up,
mind there?
Mr. Carmen?
Mr. Christopher Carmen there. He's
got a good series going.
Yes, he does. That's what I was going to say. He runs the Street Stocks there on Thursday on CWTV with the Outlaw Dirt series.
I ran in that a few times.
He's got a lot more stuff coming up too, so keep an eye out for that. We'll bust into some F1 news. Keep it on the open wheel before we bust into the endurance racing. But
and before we leave off IndyCar, Fernando Alonso signs he will be running the 2020 Indy 500.
Yep. So he's going to be running with Andretti.
We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when McLaren just says, we're done. We're not going to sign him as an ambassador in F1. You knew they're not going to take him on in the IndyCar. And at that point, that opens him up to Honda, where he's been comfortable before, where he had a chance to win it, had that engine not blown. So we'll see if they can kind of get around that, because he's kind of plagued. In the back of Fernando Alonso's mind, Honda is a name that he probably just doesn't want to hear, because it's just never suited him well.
Yeah, but he knows if he wants a shot at winning the Indy 500,
this is his best shot, I think.
Andretti's one of the best teams you can be on for a shot at winning it. I mean, we've seen their performance in years past. I mean, because hell, they're for they won before the past couple years. They'd won 5 of the last 6 Indy 500s, I believe.
Yeah, and then I mean, Honda still won the manufacturers championship, which I don't think holds as much flame as like what it does in F1.
No, it doesn't.
But I mean, you're still putting up there. So ebbs and flows. I've said it many times. I mean, it's Ganassi or Andretti's. No, I say Dixon won it the other year, but I mean, Chevy has had that power overall, and I mean especially for the 500. So. Yeah. We'll wait and see if Honda can get over those fuel woes, I guess, not make it a fuel race, because I don't think Fernando goes along on an oval to win a fuel-saving race. He knows how to do it, but on an oval, that's not his expertise.
Yeah,
I think they really have to give him that Chevy power, if you will, that we've seen in the past couple of years to make him compete with Mr. Trowbridge there, because I know Mr. Trowbridge is building the car right now that is going to just set our mind on fire. Am I right, Mr. Trowbridge?
I hope so.
I'm excited to watch Timothy Trowbridge in this season coming up here. I'm going to look for him on TV anytime they go over there to the Fort, because they show him on TV all the time, because that's a name in racing. So, boy, I'm going to be looking for you all the time. I'll be posting pictures. That's him.
We're going to be down at the fence down Gasoline Alley. Timmy.
So if I give you like a pat on the back at the 500, like
attaboy,
would you be like completely fined if a Checkers and Wreckers sticker ended up on the back of your pit suit there? Would they be
fire suit?
Would they be a little upset with you there? No, I'm completely joking, just having a good time. He says, "You know it." That's right. No, like I said, I'm really excited to, and I think, like I said, and going back to the Tony Kanaan deal, he's going to come into this season in those 5 races, man. He is going to give it hell, because I mean, he knows this is his last giddy. He's probably going to have a ride in the 500 for the next few years
if he wants it.
You're right. He could probably come back just like Elio and get a ride with Andretti for a one-off. Get a ride with...
Possibly.
He's good at this track. I mean, he's proven that. He knows this track inside and out. Even on his worst years, he can perform here at this track, here on the oval. So, I mean, I think that goes a lot to say about him. And I think we're going to be celebrating at least another podium. And he got on the podium last year. I think we're going to be celebrating something like that to really... unfortunately send Tony off, and that's the unfortunate thing about racing. I mean, you've seen Bourdais, a great in IndyCar. He didn't get a sign off. He pretty much got the
he'll be running IMSA though.
Well, no, you're right, but I'm saying
I like that. I like seeing a lot of these guys coming on running IMSA, because IMSA's starting to gain some momentum.
It really is, yeah.
And we've talked about before, I thoroughly enjoy the sports car racing. I know you do too. To be able to see all these different types of cars on the track at once is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And now you have, Elio's running in it, JPM, Conway,
Hunter Ray,
Catherine Legg, Bourdais.
I mean, there's a
so-
lot of these guys, yeah, and
Kobayashi.
right. I think that was a one-off at the Daytona, but I think, man,
No, didn't he run the year before too? Because I thought he won the year before too.
full time. No, he won the Daytona. I don't think he has a full-time ride in sports cars.
No,
I think that's a one-off team
Well,
for that.
not for IMSA. I think
Right.
he runs
Exactly.
WEC.
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree. It's, I mean, you got a lot of these top tier guys going into there, and it's making it very interesting. And the package they're giving these guys right now is a very competitive package. So, that'll be fun to watch. Where were we real quick with the, I don't want to transit. That is a good transit. Yeah, we'll transition
go
to
right
IMSA.
into it. Yeah.
We got a little F1 to talk, but we'll do that after that.
Okay.
So we'll finish up because we finished just before the end of the 24 hours of Daytona. You probably didn't even make it
I didn't
home
get to see it now.
before the end of the gig there. So for the third time in 4 years, Wayne Taylor Racing takes it, gets her done there at the 24 hours of Daytona. And for the second year in a row, Kobayashi's on the winning team. And they wave off their final driver, say, hey, man, Kobayashi's doing fantastic. That final driver, no slouch. Do you know who it was?
Dixon.
Exactly. So he has anchored teams like that before, and he's a fantastic anchor. He did his minimum stint in the car, and that's pretty much all they used him for. So a world-class driver. And he says, man, hey, I'm good with that. I wanted to win.
But what's that say about your other drivers
Absolutely.
when you got a champion like Dixon, and you know most teams would want him in the car as much as they get him in the car.
Oh, yeah.
But you know you had Kobayashi, you had
His Ragnar Vander Zandi.
Van der Zand
Zand, yeah, and then Briscoe.
Briscoe, yes.
So Briscoe gives, I mean,
And Van der Zand's a stud.
that kind of brings you back to the late 90s there. You're talking Ryan Briscoe, Scott Dixon. It kind of brings you back to the kart days, you know what I mean? So big names back there, and just interesting to watch that. So that team, Wayne Taylor Racing, they're just dominant when it comes to that Cadillac. Like, what's it? It's been around 3 years. It's won 3 years.
Yeah, it's won every race it's been in at Daytona.
Yep. So
That's impressive.
very impressive. The C8 comes out, and it has a little mixed feelings across the board after we see a whole week of talk and everything.
It's got speed.
But Kyle Busch liked it. He had a good time, and he said, man, these endurance guys are tough. They are a different breed of drivers. They asked him, are you going to come back and try it again? He's like, I don't know. Let's give this a minute to I got to rest because that was a long race. And so, yeah, I mean, he gives them their due, and he went out there and tried it, and you got to give him credit for that. And reports are that speaking of him, Ed Carpenter's looking at him for a one-off for the 500 right now. So to get him, I mean, he's stepping out of the NASCAR realm right now and really putting his foot into everything he possibly can.
And you can say what you will about ECR Ed Carpenter Racing, but if you're a fan of Indy, you know every year they bring a car to Indy.
Oh, they know that track.
They have
absolutely.
they
The
have a
package, the
competitive
setup.
package for Indy. So if Kyle, that would be a good ride for him to get into.
Yep, I completely agree with that. So, then we got the LMP2's Dragon Speed.
Orca.
They take that.
I was just looking at that lineup of drivers, and man, they got some studs there too. You got Ben Hanley.
Yep.
You got Colin Braun.
Yep.
And you got Harrison Newey.
Ben Handler, I mean, right there, he is absolutely on fire.
Oh yeah, and then Newey.
Like, oh yeah, I'm not taking anything away from those other guys, but man, Hanley, to watch him come across and do that final stint, it's like, wow, dude, you were on fire. I mean, you were passing cars you shouldn't have passed. Like, you were getting around LMP1 cars.
Oh, kind of like Kobayashi's move in the first turn early on in the race.
He knew that track. It was like he did hours of practice. It was incredible. I mean, he did do hours of practice, but so then you got the BMW Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan.
Yes,
they won in the the GTLM, and then in the GTD Paul Miller Racing takes it. So it was the most laps ran, I believe. So the farthest distance traveled in a 24-hour race by the winners.
Fastest pace too, wasn't
Fastest
it?
pace, right? So a lot of you had a very ideal weather.
Yeah. Because last year it was crap. It was raining.
Exactly.
It
You
was
didn't even get all
nasty.
24 hours in.
Nah.
They went red flag a couple times last year. So good to watch that. Really good racing, and brings IMSA into a solid start for the year. And now I think their next race is Sebring.
Yeah. Hey, not to interrupt you.
Oh, go ahead.
Our number one fan just come on.
Really?
Ashley Stevens.
Oh, jeez Louise. Get her out of here. What are you do? She's watching. Are they done yet? Are they done yet? Are they done yet? Like I said, everybody, slightly irritated wife is a very fun life. Trust me, I do it every day.
He does.
So,
I've witnessed it.
we kick off here in America
American.
with the 24 hours of Daytona. And then yesterday over in New Zealand, I think that is, Australia,
Yes. Down under.
12 hours of Bathurst. And Jules Gownan, Maxim Solit, and Jordan Pepper take it for Bentley, man. And I'm not familiar with those names.
I'm not either.
But they were driving the heck out of that car. And Bentley, that thing looks sharp.
Doesn't it, though?
It really did.
That's
man.
a sick-looking car.
He came through on, I want to say there was probably 6, maybe 7 minutes left, and he blows a tire. There's a puncture. So almost he cuts it through the grass, holds on to it, and then takes it into the pits, changes the tire, goes back out, and they take it. And he ends up, I think, getting even a penalty coming out of the pit. So he has to get a little ahead to get from that the penalty time and everything. So really good finish there. Really solid race. That track is absolutely gorgeous. Like I was talking about before at the beginning.
It's tight, too.
Oh, yeah. It looks like Monaco tight.
Yeah.
I mean, it does.
Yeah.
It looks like Monaco tight. I don't know. Like, I don't think you could put an LMP1 car because those things are wide. That BMW is a wider car.
It is.
It looks a little wider than the AMGs. Those look like they can
I don't
hit
know
it a
if
little
you could
better.
get two of those BMWs side by
man.
side.
Whew, wow, it'd be like you said. It would be like a Toyota. So,
Right in the cloaca.
these guys throwing it down, getting it done, and only a few wrecks. Unfortunately, someone took out a kangaroo.
I seen that.
They drilled it. Did you see the car?
Yeah.
I mean, they got it. And then I didn't see like when that happened, but I saw the kangaroos hopping on the track and everybody's slowing down. Like they had a yellow, and these two kangaroos are just hopping on the track like the dog at the Indy 500. It's like, hey, nothing happened in here.
Hey, I ran Road America. There was a turkey.
That blows my mind.
And it was just
you're
all
on a
strutting.
cart. Man, that'd be like a bomb if you hit a turkey going on a shifter cart or something.
Good thing turkeys are slow enough. You had time to avoid it. But
Turkeys are pretty quick, man. I was.
he was just kind of just strutting across the
and
track.
he didn't care.
No hurry.
Like y'all ain't gonna hit me. You see me? I'm big. I'm a turkey. It ain't Thanksgiving. I'm safe. That's what he's thinking. So, well, thank you for joining in, Dustin Helms. We will see you later.
Thanks, buddy.
As we got some Slide Job Sunday action. I
Yes,
believe
we
that's
do.
presented by Twisted Motorsports. There. So thank you for
And broadcast
helping
by
out there.
SRTV.
Oh, yeah,
Jay Weezy.
he's having a good time. He does a lot of help.
Which,
Thanks to him too.
I think we might be special guesting with him Wednesday night.
Hey, anytime he wants to have
Oh,
boys
yeah.
over there. we'll
Oh,
have
yeah.
some fun.
I'll hop in
He wants to
anytime.
throw down on the asphalt race with us too. I know
Okay.
that. So we'll have to have some fun with him there.
We could do that as a race for Riley.
There you go. Do a little broadcasters race or something like that.
Yeah.
So get the boys at FVRN in
Yes.
on it, and
Yes.
we'll have a little fun. there.
CC and LJ.
Katie from Pit Pass. She
Oh, yeah.
she's been doing a little announcing
And
herself.
I can't think of her name. She does the YouTube videos.
Ann.
Yes.
Rabbits, or
Yes.
I don't know if that. It looks like rabbits. I'm
Yes.
sure it's like rabbits or something like that. But
Yeah, we could get
it'd be a
a
good old time. I don't know if she does too much oval stuff. I think she's more of a road race, but I'm sure she'd have some fun with an oval.
we could throw it Indy.
right. have a little blast there. So, I guess heading to good old F1.
Yes.
Some news coming out of there. Lance Stroll can't get it done with Racing Point, so what's he do? Not Lance Stroll, his dad.
His daddy.
Goes and buys, what is it, Aston
It's a
Martin.
Martin.
So get some stock in them. And 2021 starting to look pretty good for Racing Point. What do you think? They're going to change their name to Aston Martin.
No.
Red Bull is pretty much, they said they're going to continue the production of the Valkyrie. And once they're done with that, I think their partnership with Aston Martin is going to be done. So that does take a good amount of change away from Red Bull, but a team like Red Bull, I don't think is too worried about.
Well, but
losing.
Red Bull's running Honda, aren't they?
They are, but they're sponsored. They have a big sponsorship by Aston Martin. So that's going to take some money away from the team, but I don't think at the end of the day it really does, because I think for a team like Red Bull and F1, somebody's going to say, yeah, here, we want that spot.
And go back to the first two words you said in that sentence.
Red Bull.
I mean, how many sponsorship dollars do you really need?
And and that's the thing though too, is when I see that car, that's all I see.
Yeah,
is Red Bull.
Well, you see Aston Martin on like the engine cover.
But that's all you're right. But that's all I think of is Red Bull. When I see the Ferrari, you see Ray-Ban, you see the Minnow, the Mission Minnow.
You see AMD,
Shell. I mean, you see those things with Red Bull. They almost like strike it so big towards their own brand that it's interesting. Maybe that's not a very sought after one. So he sees it. I got the mullet going on. It's more like me trying to save every inch of hair I got left. But when I turn, you can see like the little poof.
I noticed it earlier.
I love it.
Nothing.
That's what it's the Blaney. I'll call it the Blaney.
I'm gonna call it the Joe Dirt.
Yeah, I'm good with that too.
Say it deer takes. It sounds cooler,
right? You don't think this cool?
Are these things on?
Check 1 2. This is the mic I use right here. So I'm loving. Hey, what better? It's perfect for my racing.
Life's a garden. Dig it.
So exactly, that's a good one. Hamilton has yet to open up contract talks with Mercedes.
Yeah. So
that kind of makes you wonder, man. I mean, we've seen it, we've talked it, and Toto's good possibility he's leaving. Good possibility. I mean, that's a lot of that relationship with Mercedes there. Mercedes came out this week, granted, and said that they aren't gonna get out. They're claiming that right now. We've seen Mercedes come out and say things in F1 and then turn around the next day and change it. So. They still may be getting out in 2021. Stroll has been a person in talk of buying Mercedes. Penske has been a person in talk of buying Mercedes.
I don't see Penske doing it though. Which even though, Penske's always had that relationship with Mercedes.
Exactly.
So
exactly. So there's
but at his age,
it'd be more his son. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, how much you just bought IMS in the IndyCar series. Do you really
credit
need to
line's
go
only
buy
so big.
a F1 team at this point?
Right, your credit line's only so big.
Because he's what, 81, I think?
Oh, yeah, he's up there, and he looks, gotta give him credit, man.
He doesn't look his age, that's for sure.
No, not at all. And to see him get behind the wheel of a car, it's like, I will never forget the day I met Roger Penske. I didn't expect him to be like he was. I don't know if I've told you this before. We were in the garage of IMS, and I look over, and this old guy standing next to me. Holy moly, that's Roger Penske. I said, he just got done from taking the pace car out, is when he was driving it. I said, hey, do you like that car? He looks over at me with the biggest smile on his face. He said, that was a sweet ride. And I said, how fast do you get that thing up to? He goes, about 120. He was hauling the mail, as they like to say.
Hey, Penske used to be a racer.
And but just that smile on his face. Like, I kind of, like, when I talked to him, I kind of expected a quick, yes, back, something like that. He's a businessman.
Yeah.
And I know, I've been around that. I'm not saying anything bad, but he embraced, and he understands that, though. He's been around racing his whole life.
You got to have the fans.
And I'll be honest, that kind of goes, like I've said with Rossi, that I met him, and unfortunately, I wish I wouldn't have at that point. It could have been a bad day he was having or something. But I met Penske on a good day, and after that day, I didn't look down on Penske because I used to have that same Penske wins. I'm not a big Penske fan. After that, because Will Power was there and he was in Streets, and I started talking to him, and I realized, man, you're a cool guy too. So these guys that kind of looked like the corporation of IndyCar kind of were really more down to earth than the couple of times I came across the more laid back team or the rebels, if you will.
And it's funny
IndyCar.
you say that about Rossi because I follow Elite IndyCar on Facebook, and they were somebody was talking about Rossi and or wanting like they had a mini helmet that was autographed by Rossi, and he's like, even though he screwed it up because he autographed it in black Sharpie when my wife was holding a silver Sharpie for him to sign it with, and he just blew her off, didn't even pay attention to her. Well, and then that just opened the floodgates. Everybody's like, yeah, I met him. He's a real, I met him. Yeah, he's not very friendly. I've met him. And there might have been one person on there that said Rossi was all right. The rest of them.
And I will say, I mean, to defend him, because, I mean, like I say, I'm a fan, or I was at least a huge fan of him. Maybe in his mind right now, he's not a champion. He's still, Rossi's that guy in the field. And I said this about Newgarden last year, but now he's come out and he said he's going for that 500. I think Rossi's the guy in that field that wants a title. Rossi's so focused, and that could be part of the reason that he just needs to kind of embrace this isn't Formula One, this is IndyCar, and it's a completely, like, look at Scott Dixon, look at Dario, look at Tony Kanaan, look at these guys, Dan Weldon, these guys that really, I mean, Scott Dixon could take it into F1, I think, and have a career. And yet he's one of the most approachable drivers.
Yeah, Dixon's awesome.
He changed the Simon Pagenaud. They changed the outlook of what these fans almost expect from drivers when they go to races.
And I always thought Will Power would be that way, kind of a-hole. But from watching, some of his Facebook videos, and I've heard other people, he's kind of a character.
Who's that?
Will Power.
Oh, 100%, man. 100%. And like I said, I mean, after a race, you see him, he's very professional. He is not joking around as much. But then, I mean, you see him backstage, or when I say backstage, back in the pits and stuff like that, and he's having a good time. He's cutting up with the fans. So it's a good thing to see that. And, in Formula One, he's probably not very approachable, but it looks like Hamilton, when you get around him, and you see him with the fans, he seems to really respect the fans because he understands, man, yeah, I'd be a racer without these guys, but I wouldn't have had a plane without these fans. I wouldn't have had necessarily all the endorsement, because without that, he's still a racer, like I said, but he doesn't have the luxuries of, you are a tired man today. He doesn't have the luxuries of a private jet that he had and stuff like that.
But and my thing with F1, I don't think the drivers are more or as accessible as like IndyCar. I mean, IndyCar,
no, you're right. They put them in the practice.
It's easier to get in the pits, and it's easier to get access to the drivers. Where in F1, they're kind of
prestigious
back in their little conference debriefing room or wherever.
They walk out of like a locker room almost when they get to the cars. You're right there. So, let's see here. Pat Fry, he's been around different teams as like McLaren. He was with the Benetton team. He's ran with Ferrari for a little bit. He is now the technical director at Renault. So they're making moves. They're trying to get back to where they were. It seemed like them and McLaren just had a flip-flop season from the year before. McLaren really shocked the world and had a season that Renault had the year before, and they really looked to build on that. And to mention that with the first year, that was their first year with Danny. And I just read an article there that Red Bull has come out and they said, man, we miss him in the garage. I mean, he was
he's a character.
He's a party. He brought a good time and enjoyment to people. And I can see where Verstappen, you're not bringing that. And I can see, gosh, what's his name?
Who?
The new one.
Ocon?
No, with Red Bull.
Oh
my goodness. But I can see him being
Gasly's right.
Exactly. I can see him just being a lot more professional. not as backhanded as Verstappen, Albon. But he's
Albon.
going to come in and be just more professional. He's going to talk to you. He's going to know your first name, but he's not going to slap your butt and say, you know, did you like going out to the bar last night?
Yeah, I think Ricardo lightened the whole mood for the team.
Exactly.
I mean, because he was a prankster, he's a jokester, and stuff like that.
But at the end of the day, that could have been hurting their production with Verstappen or something like that too.
Well, and they made it clear from day one when they got Verstappen that was their guy.
Right.
You know, after that, they kind of said, Danny Rick's kind of second fiddle now. Verstappen's our guy. They made it clear. So, with Danny Rick, why do you want to stay someplace knowing that you're not number one, even on the team? You're playing second fiddle to a guy, and you've been here. He was there before Verstappen got there.
Absolutely.
But
and see, real quick, in my mind, I would think, this is how I look at it. Now, granted, I get where he's coming from because he has championship capabilities at the time that this is all happening.
yeah,
But these regulations are coming into play in a couple years. Hold off that ride that you have right now with Red Bull because Renault's not there yet. Granted, they might be here in a couple years, but they're not there just yet. So hold off with what you have. Become that second driver. Fill in. Do it. Because look at Albon, man. They gave him a ride.
Oh yeah,
He was up there.
Well, that Red Bull car is a strong car.
Right.
That's a contender week in, week out.
So, it's obviously, and we spoke about it, but something was going on there behind the scenes. But now they come out. It's kind of like NASCAR saying, we went after these new fans and lost our old fans. Well, that's what Red Bull did right there. Is they try to go after a new driver, and now they're looking back, and they're not saying they regret kicking him to Renault there, but they miss him, and I could see where, like we said, he'd be a good guy to have in the garage.
And I think that Danny Rick really he pushed Verstappen.
Oh, 100%.
Because you look at they had two drivers trying to fill his shoes last year. Albon didn't do bad, but he wasn't. Danny Rick was competing for race wins and podiums weekly. So Verstappen knew he had to be on his game because Danny Rick's going to be right there. So I really think that helped push Verstappen, and I think by Red Bull letting Danny Rick go, I think Verstappen will be a champion, but I don't know if it's going to be at Red Bull.
No, because I don't think he's. I think he'll be in the Silver Arrow here come 2021. I think him and Bottas either switch seats, or I don't know.
I could see him going Ferrari too.
With the likes of Lewis Hamilton possibly going there, I don't see them giving up that seat from Leclerc.
But how many years does Lewis?
No,
Hamilton have
you're right.
left?
Absolutely, sure.
So you have Lewis there for 2 years. Verstappen's still young.
Oh yeah. He's younger than me.
We're gonna bring Verstappen in to fill that seat. Now you got a more mature Leclerc and Verstappen.
But that could be that's either one of two things. That's either
a time bomb,
exactly,
or that's a line of
untouched
championships.
Yeah, wow, yeah. Good luck catching those two. So that it would be an interesting one to watch there. So we'll have to see. So Brandon just throwing us in with some breaking news here. ProRacer.com. Honda says no, we ain't dealing with Alonso. He ain't racing with Andretti, not with our stuff. So kind of what I just said, 20 minutes ago.
Yep.
They say no. So he's going to, if he wants to run, he's going to have to get in a Chevy. So that may close the door for Kyle Busch with Ed Carpenter. That may, did you just get a...
Daniel just texted me.
I got you. That just gives a, maybe opens the door back up for that one-off with McLaren. But I think those would be your only two seats that Alonso's going to sit in. But right now he is fuming. Well, I don't know why this wasn't set like before. If there was any problems with this, why did the dotted line get signed, and why did this press release come out that Alonso was going to run with them?
Because Honda had to know all along that him and Andretti were talking.
We did. So
Right.
Honda had to.
Right. So
Why didn't they just come
in and say no?
Honda's looking for Andretti to switch to Chevy right now. You pull something like that, and that's going to make Andretti just say,
You
okay.
know what? If I was Andretti, I would consider it too.
See ya.
I would consider it too.
So, I mean, maybe Ford, they get out of IMSA. Maybe they're looking to get into IndyCar. I mean, hey, you never know.
Daniel says Penske's going to give him a seat.
That'd be a six car for Penske.
I would love to see it, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
It'd be a 6 car for Penske. I just don't know. I mean, you'd have to, at that point, I think, have another owner in with you, with Penske. I don't think you could run.
Well, he would have Dragon Speed, possibly.
Okay, yes, you're right there. Because they're partners in IMSA there.
That's
correct?
his, I want to say Dragon Speed is Penske's stepson.
There's some relation there? Okay.
Yeah.
So, and that's who he's partnered with in the IMSA program and stuff, right? Like the Dragon Speed Orca. That's part. Penske might not have part in that, but
Right.
that's the same partner there. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that shakes up a lot. We'll definitely be paying attention to what happens this week as far as that goes, because unfortunate for Alonso, unfortunate for really all of us, because Eric Smith put it the best last year when Alonso missed that. Like, yeah, we wanted to see, like, for that one day, that's a great storyline for Kaiser coming in there and doing that. But after that, I mean, Kaiser's a lapped car in the 500 where Fernando Alonso could have been up there contending for a win. So, I mean, it's unfortunate to see this happen. And, hey, you know, maybe Alonso comes out with Andretti and just does his own thing and says, hey, I'm going to put my own team together, Andretti. I'm going to give you money on the back end. Let's make something happen. I don't know. I don't know if that's possible, but that is shocking. It's just crazy that 20 minutes ago, I'm over here talking about that, and it comes in breaking.
And for me, though, I'm just sitting there ever since we started.
I can see you, like, trying to process that all in your head.
I'm like, so from Honda's standpoint, I don't see where this is a good move. You're going to put a world champion driver like Fernando Alonso in a car and have a legitimate shot at winning the Indy 500.
Maybe they don't want the resources thinned out because they have Alexander Rossi, they have Colton Herta, they have Ryan Hunter-Reay, they have Marco Andretti in their mind.
Okay, but
I don't know.
But if I'm in a fight, if I'm in a gunfight, I'd rather have 15 bullets than 5.
Well, no, and I'm with you there, 100%. But
I don't understand the philosophy behind that. I mean,
no, and the big thing is, why release it to everybody and do a press release and make an announcement and do that, and then Honda come out and say, no, you know what, I don't think we're going to do this.
It's kind of reminiscent of his road to Indy last year.
Well, oh yeah, because I guess they said
all
at
the
that point, like,
debacles
hey,
and everything.
you can't run with Honda, and you got to run a Chevy, blah blah blah. So and maybe it's because he's been running the Toyota in like the
Dakar
and what was the other?
He does have a strong affiliation with Toyota.
With Toyota now, yeah, he won the one rally with Toyota in the Helix.
But here's my thing: Toyota's not vetoing him running a Honda. I mean, as long as you're not having anything that says Toyota on your driver's suit, your hat, on the car, anything like that.
That's where I think.
Who gives a damn?
Honda, you're a top dog in this fight, but I think you're making a wrong decision on this one.
Because you figure for the Indy 500 and the fans and stuff that are going to be out there, maybe 5% would even know that Fernando runs Paris-Dakar for Toyota.
Right, exactly.
So half these people don't even know that they don't care about that.
But maybe with that comes his contract and says, well, where he goes, Toyota goes. And then Honda's saying, no, you're not going to follow him around because obviously you're with... And I don't know. That's where I wish corporations would just give... Because Honda right now, you have an opportunity to put possibly the biggest name in racing in the past 10 years back into a Honda after he left upset with you. Then you blew a motor in the 500. So this guy, I mean, you really have not given him a proper motor yet.
And when he blew the motor in the 500, he didn't come out and bash Honda.
No, not one.
He didn't say a bad word about Honda.
No, and I'm sure Andretti had a little to say in that. It's like, hey, man, remember, this is my supplier. You're a one-off guy. But, I mean, at the same time, it's like, wow, I don't know why you would come out and say, no, I don't want this to. I think that's a bad move, and I think you're going to have consequences when it comes to that, unfortunately.
But Honda's like that. Because if you remember right, years ago when they first got into IndyCar, who was their guinea pig?
Was it Andretti?
No, Bobby Rahal.
Okay.
Rahal ran Hondas, and he was the only one that ran them. And they were blowing up. They were, I mean, I think he might have finished 2 races that season.
Okay.
And did he leave Honda? No, he stuck with them and kept sticking with them and kept sticking with them. And then when the development in the motor got pretty good, Honda said, you know what? We don't want to be with you anymore. And they pulled their motor deal from Rahal. Where this man was out here every weekend, every week, not finishing races. He was your test dummy, basically. And then when you get it to where you want it, then you pull it from him. And then, not only that, when they pulled it from him, they said he wasn't allowed to run Hondas. And for the longest time, he couldn't run a Honda.
And now he's back with Honda.
Yeah.
So he came back to you then after all
Well, that or did they decide to come back to him?
I don't know what that. I mean, it's a good question there. And Brandon he asked, is this Honda's way of maybe taking a step out of IndyCar? That's a possibility because, NASCAR made that announcement. Was it 2022 for NASCAR? Maybe Honda gets into NASCAR and drops that. But I don't know. I mean, you just won a manufacturer's championship in IndyCar for 2 years straight now, I think. You have some of the biggest names running for you in IndyCar. I mean, I know you're not a fan, but Alexander Rossi, you've got him. You've got Ganassi.
Yeah.
You've got big names running for you right now. I don't think right now is the time you step out unless your company, because you're selling cars. So unless this racing deal is putting you way under as a company, I don't think right now is your time to get out. Unless you see something that everybody else is not seeing. But in that case, don't let them make this press conference on Thursday. That's my simple thing.
Well, here's my thing. It's
like they did this to make them look bad.
If they want Honda and NASCAR so bad, take them. Honda and Toyota can go fight it out in NASCAR. Chevy can end their NASCAR deal. Bring Ford back to IndyCar with you. Get the Cosworth back out there.
You're going to have Mercedes here in 2021. You're going to have Porsche's probably going to make their way back.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have a lot of
let Honda and
people
Toyota have NASCAR then.
I mean, it'd be interesting. But, I mean, Toyota, I'd like to see them bring an IndyCar motor. I mean, give it a try there. But I just think it's a bad move at Honda. Like I said, I think this is their way of saying, hey, Fernando, we still don't like you, bud. That's my opinion. I don't think it's a way of stepping out. I think this is them saying, we don't like you. We want to make you look like a fool. We're going to get your hopes up here. We're going to drop you because you are a thorn in our side. And that's unfortunate. Like I said, I don't agree with it. Because I'd love to see him run in a solid car. And what better to do than run for Penske to do it? If I was Penske, I'm kicking Elio out.
You know what? I think that would be so funny if somebody like Penske said, hey, you know what?
Oh, I'd take Elio out of that
Come
seat
run
in
my
a
car.
heartbeat.
I would too.
And say, Alonso, dude, you're in this.
I'd say,
You're
come
in
run my
this.
car.
Heck yeah, dude. And then you're the owner of the league. You just brought a lot of viewers in.
You tell Honda to read between the lines.
Exactly.
Put him in your car and go out there and wax their butt. Mm-hmm. And good morning, Mr. Justin Sick.
And good morning, sir. But yeah, that is. I would agree with that, man. That is absolutely insane. So we'll be bringing whatever news we can get to you here over at Checkers and Records throughout the week. And
yeah, I'm gonna be on that now.
Absolutely, I'm gonna be reading up on all that. You know how I read and stuff during the week. So Formula E. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about this coronavirus.
Yeah,
the new kind of like Ebola or whatever. So
Hey, you know how to fix that? Don't drink Corona. It sucks anyways.
so
Any beer you got to put a fruit in to drink, it's garbage.
I was waiting for. I knew you were gonna. You know how to get rid of that? I said, here it comes. Here it comes. So Formula E says, you know what? We're not even gonna go to China. Like, we're not gonna risk these drivers. We're not gonna risk the fans. We're not gonna risk the crews.
Why would you?
Exactly. So they pull out of that race there, and I mean it just goes to, you're gonna see that more and more if, and I'm not trying to make this a world thing, but I mean, if it's not fixed by the time Formula One is set to go there, you're probably not going to go there. I mean, they're not going to risk that at that point to get these crews, because it is a virus that they don't want to spread like it is. So Formula E, like I said, canceling their race here in China here. I think that's in March as well. So we'll keep an eye out there, see. Hopefully that doesn't get bigger and start, because that could really affect an international racing league like Formula One, like Formula E, like WEC.
Yep.
Things like that. You could really, whoa, we got to take a look at this stuff, dear guys. So definitely, I mean, not something to think of we'd be talking about when it comes to that, but hopefully everything gets fixed there and we're all good to go. So Formula E will not be competing in China this year, but I've been keeping track of some Formula E stuff this year. It's a good little.
I know you like it.
It's not terrible. I think a Formula E
And the
car
the racing is good. I'm not saying that. I got to hear the engine.
Right. No, I'm with you there. So Justin Sick is in the house. Check out his. I mean, you got the dad cliche here, but his photos are what?
Sick.
They are very good there. And him and myself, we were talking about working together with CWTV and Sick Photos to kind of give a little package there. So we'll be coming to all you guys out there looking for something special for your Justin Sick. You're terrible. Look for the two of us coming in and might be able to help you out there. We got anything else?
Not really. We've covered a lot today.
You like the iRacing Insider?
Yes, I do.
JP's he's a great.
Be sure to check that out.
He's a great.
Prilliman's just a funny guy, anyways. I mean, if you ever talk to him on Discord, the dude's a riot.
Absolutely.
Even though he's like, "Hey!"
Right? You backed away. I don't think you hit the red there. That was pretty good. But, either that or you blew people's eardrums out. One of the two. That's what I always say when I'm in the broadcasting booth. Is when I come into people's Discords, the more people there are, the louder I am when I come in, because I got to talk over all those people, because God only knows what they're saying at that point. So love doing that. Nobody's told me to stop, like, that gotten mad at me at least. Maybe you messaged me one time like, hey, he's up running for the lead. Don't do that anymore right now. But nobody's like, dude, would you just stop that? So until somebody yells at me, I won't. I'm going to keep busting in like the Kool-Aid man. Oh, yeah. Hey, we'll throw it out there. Send it our way. I think we got I'm over here like they can see the mouse, but we can throw that up there. And maybe I'll take a picture. You can edit a picture of my stash. We'll do a little photo shoot or something. The stash and the beard. Thanks to Dustin Hall over at Dominator Designs. As he made up a little a cool. And
I like it.
You know the coolest thing, and I asked him, I was like, did you realize the headphones? Did you notice that?
Mine are black, yours are white.
Exactly. And I didn't know if he noticed that at all. And he's like, oh yeah. And I was like, I think that's because it's black and white, it's like perfect right there. And I mean, again, it just,
he got the beard, he got the stash.
Oh, nailed it. I mean, just for a character with no eyes, no nose, nothing like that, it looks like you and I dead on. So they got the hats on us and everything. Now it's just maybe a mullet here as it grows off. Because I ain't cutting it.
That's a skullet.
That's the good thing. Yeah, it is. That's it. Hey, behind, they don't know what's under the hat. I'm going to be like one of those guys that takes off their hat and everybody's like, oh my God, you're bald. I'm like, no, I'm not bald. I got hair. But there's a reason I wear this on camera out in public. Pretty much if I'm not in that seat right there, it's the only time a hat's not on for the most part.
Yeah. The only time I'm not wearing a hat is if I'm asleep.
Right. So, Man, that's really, I don't have anything else. So, who do you think? What?
Your brother.
Oh, who do you think wins it today?
I'm going to say San Francisco 31-27.
What are you talking about? I'm in Slide Job Sunday. I think
Oh,
Dustin
Slide
Helms.
Job
No,
Sunday.
I'm joking. San Francisco. I think San Francisco gets it done though too. I think Dustin Helms gets it done in Slide Job Sunday. He's a past champion. He's good in those sprints, man.
I think Howdy's going to take it in the 305s tonight.
You know what? And that's why I want to get on, but I kind of feel bad with mom and dad being here. But I want to get on because I know not a lot of people probably. I'm going to say that and it's going to be a full lobby.
Right.
But it's like Super Bowl. I'm like, maybe I got a chance tonight. Feeling a little lucky. I got a feeling. Woo! You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking, but I could be very, 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 very wrong. So, wish I could grow my handle like that, Justin says. A lot of people do, bud. A lot of people do. My wife didn't like it at first, but once it came out to the handlebar, she was like, you know what? It's kind of growing on me.
Get that going.
It's like, oh, yeah. No, yeah. I used to be able to do the whole beard, but then it started to go patchy. And mustache it is for the rest of the way for me.
Get you some beard wax and do the Raleigh fingers.
I got wax. Or not wax, I got oil. The
wax
beard oil
will-
makes it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I could definitely twist this bad boy. So, that's really, that's all we got today.
Yep.
Let us know. Hop on over. The boys over at Black and White Sports, they got a poll up over there. Just let them know who you think wins the Super Bowl, who gets it done tonight. Like I said,
Oh, well, I'm thinking
I think you're right. San Francisco gets it done. I have no idea on the score. But Andy Reid just doesn't seem to be the coach to win a Super Bowl. Great coach overall.
And don't forget to head over to the BWSPORTS1.com page.
For your chance.
Sign up for the newsletter, and you can win a T-shirt. They will be announcing the winner at 6 p.m. this evening. So get over there and do that.
Absolutely. Get over there. And if you don't mind, I know I'm asking a lot here, but that's the main thing we want you to do right now. But hop on over. We're pushing our YouTube a little more. And the iRacing Insider is going to be like released on YouTube. So it's not going to be on here as our main platform is Facebook. We're trying to expand there, get out into the YouTube world. I think I'm going to get a Twitch going as the guys over
I
the
have a
night
Twitch,
shift.
but I never use it.
I got you. So the guys on night shift, I think a few of them are on there. So just trying to help out. And then if you're looking
Hit
for
all the social platforms.
right, yeah, absolutely. I'm not good with Twitter and Instagram really. With Instagram, I think is the big one, and that's just like for the younger kids. I think like those Evan C. and Hayden, those guys, they're on Instagram. Where us older guys are
Snapchat.
on. I'm on Snapchat.
I am
snap,
too, but I don't use it a lot.
You'll get some random snaps from me
Yeah.
from time to time. So, no, Facebook is our main platform. So thank you. Like we said, 5,000 strong here on Facebook, and that number is doing nothing but growing. So thank you very much to that. I've got something interesting I want to talk to you about here afterwards to get out there to the people. I think we could do something cool, and we were talking about heading to Brownstown.
Yes.
Here in March, because that's just about an hour drive to get a little dirt
What's
track
the name
action.
of that race? Iceberg?
The Icebreaker?
Icebreaker.
Yeah. Good thing for March. It's probably going to be freaking freezing. Since we're getting a 60-degree day today, we're probably going to have a 20-degree day that day. It really will be an icebreaker. So we'll keep an eye out there for us as we travel. Hopefully get some dirt track racing in March here. And let us know at your local track what's going on, because, hey, we might make a drive out. You never know. If it's close enough to us and we can make the run. We like racing, like you said. What was the first thing you said about the show? You put a motor and wheels on a bar stool.
We'll
watch
race it.
Yeah, we'll watch it at least once. And if it's interesting, we're going to be back. So Ingalls, real quick, I meant to mention this last week. They released their schedule.
Yes.
So we'll be getting with Scott, and I'm sure we'll head back out there and do a show or two. It's kind of hard to get out there and do a real show, but we'll definitely get some videos, and we'll have some fun out at Ingalls again this season coming up. So if you're in the area, check Ingalls.
And if you're into quarter scale racing, follow Quarter Scale Bench Talk on Facebook. And there was an interesting write-up from our buddy Hogue the other day.
Yes, absolutely. So
Because they're when WCM came out with this JP55 sprint car, everybody just threw a fit.
And it's what people do when you get a technological advancement.
You know what you do, and racing is part of advancing. You're always trying to make the car yourself. You're always trying to get better.
Right. I'm pretty sure Ray Haroon's car still ain't running around the 500. Right. So
everybody threw a fit about it. So QSAC come and changed a bunch of rules now. So they have to change a lot of stuff on their car to make it ready for the upcoming season, which I know Hogue will get it done. And you know what? All you guys did was open a can of worms, because I know Hogue and I know how he works. He's going to come out stronger and faster than he was last year.
100% there, absolutely. And these guys behind him, he's got a strong team of followers there with the WCM.
Yes.
We are going to have, when we get back at it, Hogue has been nice enough to give us some giveaway items. We're going to be giving away some WCM stuff when that comes around. Figured we'd wait until that time, and that way you can come out to Ingalls, show your support.
And we can give it away right there.
Exactly. There you go. So we'll plan something out for those guys there. And really, like you said, man, if you're into quarter scale, even if it's like dirt quarter scale, man, give him an idea, because he may be able to do something for you, as he is a he worked on Indy cars. He doesn't mind saying that, I'm sure.
Dude, he
And that was the time of a lot of technological advances in IndyCar. I mean, you had a lot of changes going on, and he was a pit chief for Carpenter when Carpenter was coming around. It was fast.
He would show up at the RC track and, hey man, check out, I did this and this. I'm like,
say what?
What the heck? I mean, he would just come up with some shit, but it would make sense and it would work.
And that's what
sometimes it wouldn't.
And he's not going to talk over your head. He could. He really could, but he'll have a conversation. It's like a talking to dummies. He knows exactly how to relate it to, like me. When I'm asking him questions in the pit, he could easily just go way over my head with the stuff he's doing. Instead, he breaks it down in a way I know. He's pretty much explaining to his 3-year-old how to do it. And that's cool, too, to watch his 3-year-old really in the pit area with him, and he's passing down that racer mentality there.
Well, and that's how Chris was, because, Mark, his dad, he was at the racetrack. Chris would be there with him.
I'll show you a picture. I don't know if I snapped it to you the other day. I'm watching a Monsters of Dirt Racing. I mean, you saw the after show. I got the kids running around and stuff. Graham, anytime I'm watching a race, if I'm sitting here, he will get in the rig. He'll put his hands on the steering wheel, and he will just get the happiest he is just watching those cars go around the track.
I told you, Graham's going to be a racer.
I thought it was going to be Charlie, but I really think now, especially you saw him in Ingalls, just how excited he was getting with the RC cars. So that gets me excited that
Graham's going to be the racer.
I won't have to force it on him. I think one of my kids is naturally going to absolutely just love racing. So we'll have fun with that. And thank you all again for joining in, Checkers and Wreckers, and thank you for making the second week of CWTV another great one. Thank you for supporting it, sharing it out there. I'm having a blast out there. I know when you can get in there and have some fun, you do. Yeah. I'd rather you hone your skills there out on the track, though, if that's what you're wanting to do, though, because I know the times we get to race, it's fun. So you want to make sure you get a chance to get out there and do that, too.
Oh, so, slide job Sunday tonight, baby.
One of these times that you're going to come in here, I'm going to have 6 screens. You're like, what are you doing? And so I can broadcast and race at the same time, man. It's like, I'm trying to make things just crazy.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I've got 2 iRacing accounts. You're like, what are you doing? Just watch, dude. It's like, Dexter's in here longer than I need to be.
Dee, stay out of my laboratory.
Right. You're starting to see more and more toys come in here. And it's because the kids are spending more time down here, and they're starting to cycle in here. And Charlie's got he's one for the camera. He just likes being on the camera. So hopefully that wasn't too bothersome, I guess, during the after show. They like to take part in, and the wife a lot of times is at work. So
come hopping across the couch, and he's up there grabbing it.
That's when it scares me, is when he starts grabbing those things. He's like, man, just don't throw it, because he likes to throw stuff right now. And then I thought he was going to grab the camera at once or hang on the TV. There's a lot of things he could do here, but he's doing a good job. So thank you guys all for putting up with that and having a good time. We love doing what we're doing.
Hey, and remember, if you're out enjoying the Super Bowl this evening, be responsible. Don't drink and drive. We want you to get home safe, because we want you back next Sunday.
Absolutely. That's the best way to put it. And last little shout out, if you're needing any banking needs, anything like that, go with the First Financial Bank. That's John Wayne Buzzard. Check out John Buzzard _ at First. I can't see that low. We'll post that link on there.
I can't
If
see
you're
it.
looking for
It's
any
like-
banking needs, John Buzzard there at First Financial Bank. He'll get you taken care of. Thanks to everybody over at typoedits.net, Grunt Works Custom Woods,
Barber Ford.
yes. iRacing, iFlag, Butt Kicker, Gamer 2, feel what you have been missing.
Imperial Motorsports.
Imperial, the winners, champions.
Yeah.
And the new person on board there, the official printer of BWSPORTS1 Network, Above Printing Concepts. And you know what? We'll be adding another one up on that board here. Is I think my shipment from Oralex, or our shipment from Oralex, I'll get that right, should be coming. And we'll do a video of the setup.
That'd be awesome.
It's gonna be professional, and we're gonna be sounding even better than we do now. And I'm looking forward to it. I sat down, talked to these guys, and another just great group of people, and can't say enough for the partners we have here at Checkers and Wreckers. Thank you to all, because without our partners and you, we are just two guys sitting on a couch. We might not even have these microphones. We might as well just be talking to each other. So thank you very much. Appreciate all you guys do. We will check you next week. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and like you said, stay safe. But remember, not tonight, but when you're on the track, to drive fast, shift hard, and keep the rubber on the road.